Hi everyone, my name is Ola and I would like to introduce you to the member of the group. We set up this group to talk about the problem of education in United States. We are all students from Butler Community College. I told you before, my name is Ola Al-Hayek. This is Laura. And this is Eileen, this is Samantha, this is Akram, and this is Maddie. We all want to speak about the education in United States. I think education is not a luxury now, but it's a right for all people who want to learn and go to the university. In fact, education is in United States is not free, but rather very expensive. This deprives a higher proportion of people from getting a college degree. And many times, some may have to change their major because the high cost to the cheaper major or short time. In fact, education is very important and necessary. If the percentage of learners is high in the society, it becomes a strong and better society. That's why I think education should be free for everyone. But there is some people who think the opposite. They think that education should not be free. We can see now with my group members two opinions about this topic. Laura will tell us why education shouldn't be free, and Eileen will tell us why education should be free and what's the benefit from free education. And Maddie will tell us about some experience from the other countries about free education. Samantha will give us some solution, maybe help us to have a free education in the future. And Akram will give us a summary about our topic and a clincher why the education should be free or not. Thank you. You can start, Laura.
I'm going to talk to you today about why I believe education should not be free. Free does not mean free. Someone has to pay for it. That means us, the taxpayers. Taxes will be raised, so that means we, the people, will be paying for others to go to college. College being free will mean that more people will want to go to college. More people going to college will mean more money, and more money means higher taxes for us. Many people are especially against the idea of making community college free. National statistics from tradeschools.net show only about 20% of first-time full-time students earn a associate's degree, diploma, or certification within the first 3 years, and only 15 of that 20% will go on to earn a bachelor's degree within the next 6 years. So making community college free could have some negative consequences for non-traditional students who often benefit from attending a private college. We already have a problem in this country with many high schoolers not taking high school seriously because they don't have to pay for it. If college is also free, then getting a degree will not seem that important and will be treated just like a high school diploma. If college becomes free, what will happen to private institutions who rely on tuition, endowments, and alumni donations for their funding? If college becomes free, then schools like Harvard, Yale, and Princeton, who are among the oldest in our nation, might be forced to close. With this information that I've presented, I believe there are better alternatives, such as expanding the Pell Grant, stop giving financial aid to wealthy students, establish better incentives for employers to provide on-the-job training, invest in better pre-college education that teach students about the realistic options, And finally, provide better online, low-cost, and customized alternatives to traditional higher college. Next, will be Eileen.
After hearing what Laura found, you might ask yourself, why should we have free college education? Everyone deserves the right to an education. As of 2012, over half of the U.S. population has some college or post-secondary education, according to Dissent magazine. But that can include anything from an auto mechanics class at a for-profit college to a business degree from Harvard. But even with such a broad range of college classes, only about half of Americans have that experience. Former President Barack Obama said, every American should be able to earn the skills and education necessary to compete in the 21st century economy. But unfortunately, with increasing cost and tuition prices, not everyone can afford to go to college. Many can't go to college because they don't have the funds or don't want to graduate with a lot of debt. Most who graduate do so with tens of thousands of dollars of debt, taking decades to pay them off and sometimes limiting their career options. From the Wall Street Journal, as of the fourth quarter of 2017, there were $1.4 trillion in student debt, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. According to Pew Research Center, in 2012, a new record was set when 69% of new college students or graduates had taken out student loans to finance their education. And the typical amount they had borrowed was more than twice that of college graduates 20 years ago. Even the amount of students from wealthy families who have to use student loans has increased. Half of the 2012 graduates from high-income families borrowed money for college, which is double the share that borrowed in 1992. But thankfully, a free college education is already being offered in some states. As of fall of 2015, Tennessee has offered the Tennessee Promise Scholarship, which covers tuition and mandatory fees that aren't covered by the Pell Grant or other scholarships. Students have 13 two-year community colleges and 27 colleges of applied technology to choose from. Over 13,000 students enrolled in these schools through the Promise Scholarship when it was first offered, and 8 hours of community service are required per term enrolled, and they must maintain at least a 2.0 GPA to continue using the scholarship. So clearly this provides some extra benefit to the community, even as they're using tax money, and it's not going to just anybody, it's going to students who are really working for and maintaining their grades. The purpose of this scholarship was to get more students enrolled in a college, and it is working. According to the Tennessee Board of Regents, during the spring semester of 2017, 56.2% of the first class of Promise students were either still enrolled after 2 years, or they had earned a college credential or transferred to a four-year university. That compares to 38.9 students who also went to the same colleges that did not use the Promise Scholarship. And New York went further by not only offering free tuition for two-year community colleges, but also by adding free tuition for four-year public colleges through the Excelsior program beginning in the fall of 2017. So clearly this is an opportunity that many Americans have been wanting more and more over the last few years, and if they're willing to work for it, it's clearly something that we should be able to offer. And now that we know that people want free education, we can go to Maddie, who will talk to us about other countries and their experience with free education.
So I'm going to be talking about how other countries achieved getting free education. I wouldn't say that it's actually free education, more as equal opportunity education. And it's not free because it's just paid for in a different way. It's paid for through taxes. It may be seemingly free if you look at the tuition costs, but it's paid by everyone in the society. The countries that have this are Germany, Sweden, and Norway, and a few others. In the Emergence Transitional Education, they show total tax wage of 2014. The countries with free education had much higher taxes taken out. This includes Germany, which was the highest with 49.3% of income taxes taken out. Finland was 43.9%, Sweden with 42.5%, and Norway with 37.0% of taxes taken out. Now, this compares with the US because we only had 31.5% of our income taxes taken out in 2014, which is much lower than the other countries. Granted that the other countries are tuition free, they are all socialist countries. According to Oxford Dictionary, socialism is a theory or system of social organizations that advocates the vesting of the ownership and control of the means of and production and distribution of capital, land, etc., in the community as a whole. Many of the socialist countries have equal opportunity, education, but they also use this money for other things such as free health care. Germany, as I mentioned earlier, is the highest taxed country that has free education. One of the reasons that the taxes are so high in Germany is that they spend the money for free education not only on Germany and its citizens, but anybody who were to travel to Germany, such as you or I, who would like to get a free education. I do believe that equal opportunity education would be beneficial to the United States, but it may be a very difficult transition, but I believe we can do it with work and effort. Now let's go on to Sam, who will be talking about how we can bring equal opportunity education to our country. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sam. I will be talking and discussing the matter of making college more affordable or tuition free. It's a process that many are not ready to endure, especially here in America. Senator Bernie Sanders, also former candidate for U.S. president, suggested a plan to receive free tuition. He suggests that countries such as Germany, Chile, Finland, Norway, and Sweden would seem to be more considerate for the basic right of human education, putting a price on education often discourages people from continuing education. Here in America, we aren't too foreign to affordable college. During the 1980s, America used to follow free tuition in California, and another time in 1965, four-year colleges' average tuition was around $243 at good colleges. And in the next 10 years, the federal government will obtain over $110 billion in profits from the backs of hardworking college students. Bernie plans to use the money on the terms to lower student loan rates. His plan is that Americans would be able to refinance their taxes today to today's low interest rates. We have car interest rates that are as low as 2.5% or lower, but investing in careers and education, the rates are much more higher. With this plan, the 4.29% will drop to 2.37%. Public colleges and universities will meet 100% with the plan. Low-income students would be able to use federal, state, financial aid to cover room, board, and living expenses to cut the loan rates. Sanders also plans to triple the federal work-study program to build a valuable career experience that will help them after they graduate. This is a $75 billion plan that would be helped and be held accountable for the Wall Street speculators, people that had helped Wall Street from crashing during the 2008 economic crash can afford to at least be responsible for the imposing a tax of a fraction of a percent to the speculators. It's pretty reasonable. Although this plan could take action, it would be a big step into a socialist movement, considering a different platform is already too much for most Americans to accept. We must consider that we can create a strong economy. The more people that are educated, it can lessen the stress of a competitive economy, the competitive economy we live in right now. The legislative is asking for only 2/3 from federal government and only 1/3 from state. It would essentially get rid of all of what colleges and universities charge for tuition. Hopefully one day we will find a solution, if not taken upon what Bernie Sanders had suggested. Now here's Akram with our solution or conclusion.
Yeah, in conclusion, and after we all heard from our group member about free education, all give us good idea about how much education is important for society, and the education is not a luxury. Um, Also, the education in United States is very expensive. Then Laura, she told us some reason why free education should not be free. Because she said because money has to come from somewhere. Also, more people going to college, so that mean more increase in taxes, and for college is still important. So she sees if all people go to college, so college is not going to stay important. And what about private institution? And she said also we have better alternative alternative. And Island discuss the problem with Laura, and she talking about why free education should be free. And she said because everyone deserves the right to an education, and with increasing cost, not everyone can afford to go to college, and free college education is already being offered in some states. That mean have some state has free education and that is working. And maybe talking about some country had free education like Germany and Finland, Sweden and Norway. And she talking about how the tax in another country is too high because they have free education, and she said why Germany has highest taxes because free education not for citizen, for everybody come to Germany. It has 49.3, and Finland and Sweden like 43.09% from taxes, and they have equal opportunity. Everybody can get free education. And Samantha told us about the solution. She said American would be able reference their taxes today's low interest rate, and she said low income student would use federal and financial to cover room and board and living expense. And she said the 75 billion plan would be helped by holding the Wall Street speculator accountable. And my culture, I believe the education is very important, and agree with Eileen. I sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. And we are all student, and we all solving from this problem, and we hope if the education in the future should be cheaper than now or free, or like another country. What we talking, Maddie, about that. And thank you for listening.